Hello everybody, it is me. It is Nixxiom. That's me. Now, if you guys didn't know, new patch came out. And with the new patch came a new raid, Antorus, the burning seat, the burning throne. Shut up. Alright, the point is, a new raid has come out. It is week 2 right now at the time of me recording this. I've been doing the raid, and I wanted to share some thoughts with you guys on how I feel like it's designed and the lore behind it and so on and so forth, and just give you guys a little general overview and hear what you guys think. So let's get started and let's talk a little bit about this burning seat. So Antorus is the final raid of Legion. At long last, we have reached the final raid of World of Warcraft Legion. And I have to say, if you want the TLDR of this entire video, the raid is really good. There's a few things that I can say about it that I'm kind of, maybe you could have did a little bit better here, Blizzard. But for the most part, it's great. I've really enjoyed it. And for those of you that have raided with me over on Twitch, I've been doing viewer raids since the frickin' thing came out. You guys have been raiding with me over on Twitch. You guys know who you are. Those of you that helped us down those bosses and killed and defeated Argus alongside me, big shout out to all you guys. You guys are awesome. It's really exciting though. I mean, at long last, we have finally defeated the Burning Legion, that evil entity from this other world, the Twisting Nether, this other place that has presided in Warcraft universe right since the beginning. These are the bad guys that corrupted the orcs and started this whole Warcraft orcs and humans thing to begin with. The Burning Legion are the true big nasty baddies in World of Warcraft and always have been behind the scenes. And so to be finally defeating Sargeras, their leader, it's a pretty big momentous occasion. So, I mean, if you're like me and you've been a fan of World of Warcraft for a long time since Warcraft 3, holy Toledo, man. That's pretty cool. Is the whole raid perfect, though, and the whole story wrapping up with the Burning Legion and the defeat of Sargeras and blah, blah, blah? Is it perfect? Is it great? That's debatable. I'm going to share with you guys my thoughts on that, but before we get into the lore, I want to talk more about the bosses and the mechanics of the raid itself. So let's start by talking about that, and then we'll talk about the lore crap. Let's go. As I mentioned earlier, I think that Antorus is a very, very good raid, and although I'm about to hit Blizzard with a little bit of criticism, do not take it as me saying, oh my god, this raid sucks and I did not have fun doing it. Quite the opposite, I had a shit ton of fun doing this raid, but here's a little bit of criticism from me, and I've seen a lot of you guys saying this exact same thing, so you're probably gonna know what the two things are that I'm about to say. The first thing that I'm gonna say is I feel that the difficulty curve in this raid is a little out of whack. The first 2 bosses, or I would say maybe 3 depending on the order that you do them in, whatever. The first few bosses, the World Breaker robot, the Fellhounds, Portal Keeper, ANR, these bosses are very, very easy. But then you hit the Antoran High Command. And I feel that this is when the difficulty curve kind of goes from this to it shoots up. Now, I'm not saying that this fight is incredibly fucking difficult. I'm not saying it's like, oh my gosh, like it's so fucking hard. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, you're going from a basic bitch, like, okay, just split the group into 2 pieces. One group goes through the portal, and the other group stays behind and kills the ads and the boss. You're going from that to, okay, guys, like, you're gonna have these 3 different bosses who share a health pool, and one guy's gotta get in the pods, and you gotta, you know, keep the extra damage debuff on the boss and like help out with mobs too if necessary. Interrupt the pyromancer mob. Oh, there's gonna be an hourglass on the ground. Make sure you click that button. Blah blah blah. We gotta move around the room. Okay, hey, if you're a tank, you gotta go like absorb the mines. You know, like the list goes on. The list goes on. It's the first fight. I think I put it very well earlier today when we were doing this, and I was running some new people through the raid. It's the first fight where you kind of go from being able to explain the fights pretty relatively simply to, oh my gosh, like I have to sit down and be like, okay, guys, take notes. Let me explain this fight. And again, it's not a very like crazy complicated fight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the difficulty curve just kind of shoots up all of a sudden. And in the first week when we first did this boss, obviously it was week 1. Nobody had done it. This was the first boss that gave us some trouble because there were just so many moving parts. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, oh, well, that's completely fine, Nixxiom. It's completely fine if, like, the bosses start easy and then they, like, get progressively harder. Well, that's not really what happens in this raid. What happens is the bosses start really easy, then they get difficult, and then they go back to being easy again. Then they get difficult for like one more boss, and then they go back to being easy again. The 2 boss fights in this raid that are difficult, I would say, where you have to really fucking pay attention. Well, maybe you could say 3. The first one, I would say, is the Antorus High Command, which is not that difficult, but compared to the other 2, it can be whatever. It depends on how you feel about it. But the other 2 that I would say are like the difficult fights would be Kingaroth, the guy with the giant laser. Again, not too bad, but, you know, he is a mouthful to explain. And the fucking Coven of Shivara. Again, a big fucking mouthful to explain. You know, it's like Blizzard put all their time and effort into these 3 fights, and every other one was like, especially the Aeonar fight. God damn, that thing is a loot pinata. And Varamothras. God damn, man, Blizzard, like, Varamothras is a joke. Alright, unless you're a tank. You tanks out there, I love you. That's a fight for you guys, alright? I don't understand your pain. I'm doing it as an unholy DK because... Or I've been raiding as an unholy DK because I'm a fucking pussy, alright? Alright. After Coven of Shivara, you should have no problem killing Agramar or Argus. Argus, you might wipe a few times on. I think we wiped like 4 times on Argus. But the times that we wiped were just basic mistakes. Like, whoops, sorry, forgot to move with the thing above my head. Just very basic mistakes. And then immediately just corrected them. And then boom, we killed them, no problem. So, I feel like the difficulty curve in this dungeon goes from this to boom. And then it goes back down. And then boom. And then it goes right back down again. Like, it's kind of strange. It's a kind of strange in terms of its difficulty scaling. Maybe it's different in Heroic. Maybe it's different in Mythic. Maybe it's like a nice perfect little like whoop, like steady increase as you go. I don't know. I'm just going off my experiences so far. I can give you guys my opinions again later as I complete the higher difficulties. Okay? Okay. So that is my first criticism of this raid. The difficulty and how it fluctuates throughout the raid is a little bit strange. A little strange, but you know what? It's completely doable. The next thing that I have to criticize the raid on, and again, it's something that a lot of you guys have been talking about. I've seen the comments all across the internet. And you probably know what I'm going to say. The last fight with Argus is a little underwhelming. It's a good fight. It's very creative. I like how he kills us and how Aeonar uses the tree and we get to come back. There's a lot of creativity going on in the fight, but I will say it's a little underwhelming. It's a little underwhelming, and not from a mechanical point of view. It's more so the fact that, I mean, let's look back at Warlords of Draenor. Who was the final boss? Archimonde. Like, whoa, fucking Archimonde. Like that guy from Warcraft 3, that dude we fought in Mount Hyjal in Burning Crusade. Archimonde. In freaking Mists of Pandaria, Garrosh, a character that had been established over multiple expansions. Before Mists of Pandaria, Deathwing, Arthas, Illidan, so on and so forth, or Illidan / Kil'jaeden, so on and so forth. This expansion, Argus. He's not really a character that has been established over a long period of time. He kind of just sort of came out of nowhere. Blizzard introduced this whole concept of planets having world souls, and Argus is the world soul of Argus. And Sargeras has corrupted him and put him through a lot of torture, and that is the final boss. And all the other bosses as well, aside from like the Titan-y kind of people, ANR, Agramar, so on and so forth, they're just kind of, you know, nobodies. But Argus, I feel he's kind of underwhelming, because it's like, yeah, I defeated Argus, this guy who they pretty much just introduced as a character 2 months ago. You know? You know what I mean? So I felt like the final fight was a little underwhelming. Now I'm going to assume that on Mythic difficulty in this raid, that Sargeras gets a lot more involved in the fight. Because I feel that I feel that we should have been able to fight Sargeras. Now, I know some of you guys are immediately going to be like, Nixxiom, like, no, we can't fight Sargeras, he's a Titan. I mean, I would agree with that. I definitely do agree, but at the same time, I'd have to say that I would rather... It would feel much more satisfying to fight Sargeras maybe in a weakened form, kind of like when Archmage Ogwyn, when she fought him in his avatar on Azeroth. Some fun lore for you. Maybe like in a weakened form, and allow the Titans to finish him off. I think that would be a little bit more satisfying than fighting Argus, the world soul of a planet that was just introduced in the latest patch. You know what I mean? I wish Sargeras, even on normal mode and heroic, would be more involved in the fight, or we could see glimpses of Sargeras in the fight, or just something with Sargeras being a lot more involved in the fight, aside from just having a cutscene where he introduces him and says, "Oh, this is my bad guy, you'll never beat him." That's what I think anyway. But again, fight is great. I really enjoyed the Argus fight. I do think it's a little... I mean, in the times that I've done it, I do find it to be a little easy. I mean, I consider, like, the Coven of Shavara, and I consider, like... I mean, I found Argus to be about as hard as... I mean, pretty much Antoran High Command. Like, it was pretty much that hard. It's like, once you know what to do... Like, it's a mouthful to explain what to do, but once you've got it, it's pretty simple. So, I don't know. Just my opinion there. Just my opinion. If you disagree, you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you disagree. You know, obviously I've been playing the game for a long time, and some people might have just started playing a few months ago, so they might be like, Nixxiom Argus is hard as shit on normal mode, and God forbid heroic and mythic, he's hard as shit. Hey, teach their own, man. Teach their own. So if you want to disagree with me, that's fine. That's really the only two things that I can criticize in this raid. Just a strange difficulty curve, and I felt the last fight was a little bit underwhelming, and I wish Sargeras was a little bit more involved. I'm sure he will be in Mythic, but even in Normal and Heroic, I think he should have been more involved. And that's really my thoughts on the lore of the raid as well. I sort of threw in my opinions on the lore when I was talking about Argus. I think that aside from Agramar and Veramothras and ANR, and let's see, anybody else? I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, those are like our established characters that we knew about going into the raid, and every other character is just kind of a whatever character that we've never heard of before that we're just kind of killing really quick. And even Argus, I don't really count as like a well-established character because we just got introduced to him one patch ago. So, I mean, unless you've read the Warcraft Chronicle, of course, unless you've read that, in which case you've known about him for a few months, but most people haven't. Most people haven't read that book. I've read it, but you probably haven't. So, I would say that my favorite fight in the raid probably is... I know some people might be like, what? But I really, really like Kingaroth. I really like him, the dude with the giant laser. I really like that fight. I think that's a fun fucking fight. There's a lot of shit going on the screen. He's a big motherfucker. I don't know where his legs are. His legs are missing. That's another thing, Blizzard. His legs are missing. You need to kind of put him a little bit deeper in the pool of green goo. But I really like that fight, you know, the laser and having to really pay attention to that, and like he summons the robots you have to kill quickly. That's a really fun fight. I think Antoran High Command is really fun as well once you got it. I think my least favorite fight would probably be... what would be my least favorite fight? I would say the ANR fight, but the ANR fight is literally just free loot. So, I mean, I can't hate that fight. I think my least favorite fight is probably the Agrimar fight. The Agrimar fight is so easy. I mean, for the second to last boss, I thought the Agrimar fight was easier than Varimathras. I did. Like, I thought it was easier than Varimathras. So, I think Agrimar is my least favorite, because it's boring. But, you know, whatever. Higher difficulties, I'll give you guys my opinions as I progress. So, yeah. But that's what I think of the raid so far. Those are my first impressions doing this shit on normal for the past 2 weeks since it came out. Guys, what do you think of the new raid? For those of you that are doing it on Heroic and Mythic and have done it on normal already or whatever, what do you guys think? Very curious to hear what your guys' experiences have been like compared to mine. Who's your favorite boss? Who's your least favorite boss? Have you had any difficulties with any of the bosses in particular? Where's your guild at? Guys, hope you're having a great time doing the new raid. If you're somebody that you've never done this raid before and you want to check it out, and maybe you don't have a guild or something and you play on the EU, you are more than welcome to come over to my stream on Twitch. We will run you through it. I have no problem running the viewers through it and explaining the tactics to you guys. No problem, dude. No problem. Come on and join the group and have a good time and get some gear. So, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Check me out on Twitch if you want. I will see you all soon. And good luck in the raid. Hell yeah.